What's up guys, welcome back to the Retro Hub. So about a year and a half ago, I made a video talking about emulation on iOS devices since not long before that video, Apple finally let emulators onto their App Store. And the one app everyone was talking about and was super excited for was Delta. Now that video flopped harder than any of my videos had before, so I've avoided talking about emulation on iOS devices since because I assumed it was something you guys didn't really care about and wouldn't do well on the channel. That was until this released. This is the BitmoLab Gamebaby phone case. It's not just a cool looking phone case, the controller half can be detached and put over the front of the device to be used as an actual controller in Delta. This is probably going to be a weird review, seeing as I need to review this not only as a game controller, but as a phone case that I can leave on my phone when I'm not playing games. But before we get to that, guys, t-shirts. You guys know Into the AM. They're the company with the cool graphic tees I won't stop talking about. They recently sent me 2 new graphic tees, one of them I'm wearing right now, and they look really cool. They're still running their Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales, so if you want a good deal, you can go get that. And if you use the code George10 at checkout, you'll get an extra 10% off of your order. Thank you Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to talking about the Gamebaby phone case. Alright, I'm going to start this review by talking about it just as a phone case. We'll save the controls and what makes it special for a little later. Alright, I'm just going to say that this is objectively a really cool looking phone case. I have the yellow option here for my iPhone 16 Pro Max and I've already gotten several compliments from people about how it looks. And they didn't even know it could turn into a controller. They thought it was just a cool looking phone case. Now, I am a sucker for the Game Boy aesthetic. I've never owned one, but after getting several clone consoles and using a Game Boy wallet for close to like 7 years now, it's become something I'm really fond of. Doesn't matter the model. To me, the Game Boy is one of the most iconic gaming systems of all time just because of how easy it is to understand. So it's safe to say that this phone case carries that forward. It's not a hard design to match, seeing as it's just a D-pad, face buttons, and some extra controls you'd have to account for since this is a phone case and not an actual gaming handheld, but they do a good job adapting it to the back of a phone case. So the case is broken into 2 parts. The top half is just the top half, nothing special about it, and you can snap it onto your phone no problem. The bottom half is slightly different though, because it has the controls, but even aside from that, it can slide onto your phone either way and snap into the top half. It's really cool and a simple way to get gaming quickly, but when I first got this thing, it was really annoying to get off and on at first. I wasn't sure if I was doing something wrong because it was so stubborn I couldn't get the bottom half off without feeling like I was going to scratch my phone. There weren't any instructions in the box for it, and I know it's kind of dumb to want instructions for a phone case, but I feel like a phone case like this deserves instructions, and there was a little booklet on the inside, so you could have just put a little text box there talking about it. It's not that big of a deal, and as you use it more, it does become a lot easier. I just wanted a little text box because I don't want to unnecessarily scratch my phone every time I want to play a round of Tetris. Something else that worries me about this phone case is how good it would be at protecting your phone from any drop or fall. Now, I know you're not buying this thing for its strength or durability, but it is important for any phone case to protect your phone after a normal drop, and I'm nervous for how well this case and my phone would fare if it fell on the ground while it was in this case. Most cases have a ridge around the top to protect the screen in case it lands face down. This case does not have that. There is a very slight height raise from the screen to the case, but I don't think it's enough to protect your phone if it falls flat on its face. I do not plan on testing this theory because I like having a phone that doesn't have a cracked screen, but I'm probably gonna accidentally test it anyway because I am one clumsy guy. I got this phone back in August and it's been dropped and scratched more times than I'd like to admit. It's actually a miracle it isn't more scratched than it is now. But that does mean that if I drop this thing on its face, I will be slow and cautious picking it up because the chances of the screen being cracked have now gone up exponentially. Something else that isn't really BitmoLab's fault, and I'm not sure they could even fix, but is something that keeps me from using this phone every single day, is that you can't use MagSafe chargers while your phone is in this case. I use a MagSafe wireless charging pad every night to charge my phone and AirPods while I'm sleeping, and you can still wirelessly charge your phone while it's in the case. I just like the magnets involved and the security I get knowing that my phone won't bounce off of the charging pad from one small bump and stop charging throughout the whole night. This really is just a me issue. I can't imagine anyone watching this video really caring about this, but it's an issue I had, so I wanted to bring it up regardless. This is my channel after all. So as a phone case, it's really cool aesthetically, but lacks the protection I'd want from a normal phone case. However, this isn't a normal phone case. So how good is it at doing what it's advertised to do? play games. So this is really interesting because the controls are connected to the rest of the case by rubber, which keeps them from falling out of the case, and there are little rubbery foam tips on the end to have something soft press onto your screen. We'll get into how well it works in a little bit, but it is a really interesting workaround because they obviously can't have these same rubber membranes that controllers have, but they were able to work around that and still have pretty okay feeling controls. Yeah, the controls feel okay, which is actually pretty good for a phone case. This isn't a dedicated controller, so we do have to give it a bit of slack when judging its controls, but they feel fine for what they are. The D-pad not being on a ball or whatever other ways they make D-pads means that all directions can be pressed down at once. Obviously, Delta isn't going to register all of those inputs, it'll just register the first direction that you pressed, but it just makes it feel a little less nice as a controller. Again, I can't knock it too much because it is just a phone case, but I just wanted to make that clear for anyone thinking of getting this thing. All of the other buttons feel good. They feel almost exactly the same as any press on the D-pad, but because they're buttons only registering one input, that's perfectly fine. The controls feel okay overall, they're pretty good for this being a phone case. They're just something that I have to critique and judge seeing as I am reviewing this thing. Before you even press play on any game on Delta, you have to download the skins that BitmoLab made specifically for this case. They're pretty easy to find. The case comes with a booklet that has a QR code that you can scan that's supposed to take you to the download page for these skins, but instead it just took me to their website and had to Google it to find them. I don't know if this is an actual issue or if I just missed something on their website, but it was kind of annoying. Anyways, they have skins for NES, Game Boy, and Game Boy Color games. You might think that that's not that many systems compared to what Delta is capable of, and you'd be right. But consider that this controller has 2 face buttons on it and a D-pad, meaning that it is not capable of playing many of those systems. I would love to see more systems be playable, but that's a whole other phone case that needs to be made. One I'd love to see get made, but for the amount of controls we have, those systems are good. Alright, actually playing games with this thing, it feels good. There really isn't much more to say beyond that because this is a Game Boy styled control layout and they feel good to use in games. Having it cover the bottom half of the screen while the top half is reserved for the game is actually really cool and for some reason makes it feel even more like a Game Boy. So yeah, it just feels good, but I do have one complaint. Oftentimes while I'm playing games with this thing for longer than like 30 seconds, down and left on the D-pad will just stop working. I'm not sure why this is, none of the other buttons have this issue, so it's just an issue that prevents me from playing this for longer periods of time. It's really annoying. This could just be a me thing and no one else has experienced this, but this is my channel and I would rather leave a critique I have of this phone case in my video than take it out and have somebody in the comments tell me I missed something important. So yeah, the BitmoLab Gamebaby phone case is a really cool phone case to get if you're also interested in emulation on your iPhone. Its functionality is lacking and I'm not sure it'll ever protect my phone from a fall, but if I ever need my phone to be a statement of any sort, then I might keep it on, or if I ever just want to play Tetris, I'll leave this thing in my bag. But what do you guys think? Is this a cool concept you want to see more companies try out? Or do you think this is a stupid fad that won't last longer than this phone case? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.